Hey everybody, welcome to Eastside. It's a no!
Things are gonna be a little different this weekend.
This is Student Takeover weekend.
My name's Mia.
And I'm Nia.
And those are actually our names.
Everything this weekend is completely run by students.
Student speakers, student worship, and student stories.
And we believe you're gonna get just as much out of this weekend as you would at any other weekend at Eastside.
So buckle up,
tune in,
and Eastside starts right now.
No, right now.
No, it's right now?
Guys.
No, right now.
Guys,
Right, but it's right now.
Eastside starts right now.
Welcome to Eastside, where we gather, all of us, each in a different stage of our spiritual journey. Young and old, all races and colors. We don't exist for ourselves, but for people. People that haven't been invited. People that haven't been cared for. Who walked away from God and invited. People that haven't been cared for. Who walked away from God. People that have a past that pushes others away. It's about the hurting and those who have lost hope. We gather as one church, not as individuals, not as separate campuses, but as a family pushing towards the same thing, knowing that Jesus was not for the select few, but for all of us. We believe Jesus is a hope in a world of darkness, and it's through his church that the world will find light. We believe who we choose to be today will determine the world of tomorrow. So we have a vision, to begin each day with purpose, to open our hearts and minds to learn something new, to let go of our comfortable living to reach the searching, the broken, the hurting, to focus on what really matters, to band together and fight against the darkness. A vision to be the church Jesus called us to be. This isn't just a church. Eastside is a movement of people who gather together with Jesus to declare, this is for everyone.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to Eastside. It is Student Takeover weekend. You can stand on up, put your hands together. We're gonna need some energy. Here we go. This bag of bones faithful. You're always faithful. You're strong and able. Lifting my head, in you I find help. My providence, and I have never walked alone. I've never been abandoned. You are my inheritance. You are my strength and shield, and I have confidence. You go before me. You're my deliverer. I know I never walk alone. No, I never walk alone. I'd sing every hour, every minute. You have always been there. You are faithful, and you always will be. And every triumph, every failure, you are loyal to me. You are faithful, and you always will be. And every hour, every minute, you have always been there. You are faithful, and you always will be. And every triumph, every failure, you are loyal to me. You are faithful, and you always will be. You are faithful, and you always will be. And why you never walked alone. I've never been abandoned. You are my inheritance. You are my strength and shield, and I have confidence. You go before me. You're my deliverer. I know I never walk alone. I've never been abandoned. You are my inheritance. You are my strength and shield, and I have confidence. You go before me. You're my deliverer. I know I never walk alone. Please have a seat as we prepare our hearts for communion.
My name is Nicholas O'Hare, and I'm a high school student here at Villa Park High School, as well as the Next Gen worship leader with Eastside. Throughout our lives, we hear many words regarding what we can become, words such as potential and expectation that can be a burden on us. High school is a time when all these things begin to affect your future. My grades finally matter, the sports I play could have a drastic impact on my life, and the extracurriculars are more than just volunteer work. I don't think this is something reserved for high school students, but everybody feels the burden of expectation. This got me thinking about what God's expectations are for his followers, and especially for me. We're about to go into a time of communion, and I'd like to share what I found about the Lord's expectations for us. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus addresses the elements of communion: the bread, his body, and the cup, his blood, that was shed and broken for our sins. Because Jesus lived up to God's expectation, we are no longer bound by his expectations. We are now able to live an eternal life with him. And I know this is a lot to handle. So if you don't feel ready to take communion today, just know the door is always open when you're ready. And if you didn't receive the elements on your way in, just raise your hand and someone will bring them right to you. Now, these next 2 moments are for you, so please take communion in your own time.
you're welcome to stand and continue worshiping with us.
My words fall short. I got nothing new. How could I express all my gratitude? I could sing these songs as I often do, but every song must end, and you never do. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again, 'cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, but I've nothing else fit for a king except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah. I've got one response. I've got just one move. With my arms stretched wide, I will worship you. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again, 'cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, but I've nothing else fit
so much for these opportunities where we just get to purely express our gratitude for all the things you have done, these moments of just pure thanks and surrender and giving it all to you. We thank you. In your name, amen. You guys can go ahead and grab a seat. We've got an awesome story for you. Check this out.
I am headed to HSM Sunday night. Looking forward to spending time with my girls in a small group and seeing the whole high school ministry crew.
I originally applied for junior high ministry or Kidside, and they reached out to me and said, actually, we really need leaders in high school and in HSM. And I was at that moment like, no, I'm not doing this. High school's too hard. I just thought like, I am so far past this stage. I don't know if I can relate to these kids. But after a while, I really was like, okay, this is where I'm needed. I guess here I go. So I've been serving in HSM really since.
My name is Shailene. I came to HSM in 2020, and my twin sister brought me over because she had been going for like a couple months. And she was like, oh, I think you'll really like it.
So one other way that we've really shared life in a strange, kind of unique way is that we've actually worn the same prom dress.
It was like a week or two before my actual prom. I had no dress to wear, and it was after service. And she was like, I have the perfect dress. She was like, my grandma and I made it when I was 17, when I was going to my senior prom. Leading up to prom, I was just like, I really want to dress that, just kind of embody like early 2000s stuff. And it was from the early 2000s, so vintage.
I think that experience was special for a lot of reasons. For me, it was special to wear it because it was something that we did together. Just was really meaningful. And for it to be Jaylene, it was perfect because she might be the only person I know that would have worn it.
God is used just to impact my life by like forming bonds and stuff with like other like adults, like just kind of like if I needed somebody to talk to, she's kind of there just like a text away.
So God has used my serving experience in a really powerful way, not only in the impact that I feel like he has had through me on the students, but also just on my own life.
So incredible. Well, hey, Eastside, welcome to Student Takeover Weekend. We are so excited. My name is Sarah, and I'm one of the high school pastors here.
And I'm Sid. I'm a college freshman, and I'm involved at Young Adults at Eastside, and we are so happy you guys have joined us for Student Takeover Weekend.
Oh, she really wanted the confetti.
Next time. Well, Eastside, for the past couple weeks, we've invited you to join a Changemaker team. We call our volunteers Changemakers as a statement of significance. Our Changemakers aren't just doing a job, they're making a difference. Last year, I joined the Kidside ministry, and recently I began serving on the Next Gen worship team, and I love it. So if you want to join a Changemaker team, open the Eastside app, choose your campus, and indicate the team you're interested in joining. We're so excited to see what God does in and through your life as you join the team.
Absolutely. And Eastside, we are so grateful for your generosity. We know so many of you give with your time by serving on a Changemaker team and with your resources. In fact, it helps position our church so when there's crises in our world, we are able to respond. I know so many of us are just heartbroken over the fires that started last week in Maui. It's actually their biggest natural disaster in the state's history, and over 60 lives have been lost, which is devastating. But our local compassion team has been in talks with people there as to how we can best serve their needs. And it's because of your generosity that we are able to do that. So thank you. In fact, if you want to join the mission of Eastside, you can give in a few different ways. You can do it online through our awesome app, as well as the black boxes on your way out both of these doors. But hey, Sid, we might have some guests here. Isn't there something you wanted to tell them?
So if you're a guest here today, we aren't asking you to give, but instead we have a gift for you at a Guest Central. There you'll be greeted with an Eastside travel mug and a gift card to the grill, which is good for everyone in your family that's here for the first time. We hope you guys feel really welcome today. I also want to take this opportunity to tell you guys about Next Steps. Next Steps is the best way to get connected at Eastside. I personally took Next Steps right before I graduated high school, and that's where I met some of my best friends here at Eastside, and we want that for you. So Next Steps is a 4-week, 1-hour experience where you'll learn about the mission and the history of our church, as well as the purpose God has for your life. Meeting times are on the screen, and you can jump in at any time.
Absolutely. And the last thing we want to tell you about is that Anaheim, we have a campus rally coming up on August 23rd that's going to be incredible. There's going to be free childcare, free food, and Pastor Gene will be leading us into our church's next season of Kingdom Impact. We're going to celebrate all that God did through prayer and worship as we think about what he did during Unfinished in year 1 and what he has for us in year 2. So make sure you guys come. But also leading up to the campus rally, we want to hear from you. There's a place on your app that you can put a word as to how the Lord has moved in your life through our unfinished vision here at Eastside. Let's see if we can guess the same word.
We got this.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Serving.
Giving. Next service. We'll get it. Next service.
Fine. Well, anyways, Eastside, I just want to thank you again for coming to Student Takeover Weekend. And before we listen to this really great message today, and because I am a youth of today, I want to invite you all to take out your phones, open the Eastside app, go to the weekly guide, and prepare to take some notes as we listen to these awesome Eastside students speak today.
Let's go.
Hey Eastside, I'm one of the junior high students. If we haven't met yet, my name is Boris. First off, I want to welcome all our Eastside campuses today. Whether you're Park Rapids, Las Vegas, Bellflower, Irvine, Anaheim, or online, we're so glad you came to Student Takeover Weekend. Not that you had a choice, but surprise. But don't worry, I got better kicks than Pastor Drake. So, let me ask, have you ever thought about influential people in your life? It could be a family member, friend, or leader, or it might be someone you barely knew who told you something that changed your perspective on the rest of your day. We all have someone who influences us, negatively or positively, whether you're 10, 20, 30, or old like my parents. Just kidding, Mom and Dad, love you. We all have influences in our day-to-day lives. For instance, my sister Kaylee is a big influence on my life. Even though we fight and can annoy each other sometimes, she is always there for me. One time I got in trouble for making a bad choice by lying to my parents, and I knew they were pretty upset. Long story short, I got grounded for a very long time. Well, Kaylee knew how upset our parents were and decided to have a little talk with me. She helped me realize that I disappointed our parents more than anything, and that lying can make things worse. She told me our parents work hard for us, love us, and want the best for us. And she's right. My mom and dad told us they want us to love God and love others, ultimately just to be a good human being. Kaylee's words were really eye-opening, and I don't think I would have realized it without her. So, sister, I know you're out there, and I just want to say you're a great influence on my life. And love you. So, let's take a moment to think about the people who made a positive impact on your life. It could be a parent's advice that helped us when things were tough, a teacher's encouragement that made us excited to learn, or a friend's kind laugh that reminded us that we're not alone. These moments show us the power of influence. People's actions and words leave a mark on us, making you, spreading love and joy to help shape others through Jesus. Today, let's look at God's words as we celebrate and appreciate the role of influential people in our lives. Proverbs 27, verse 17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend." I'm no scientist, but one thing I know for sure is that a metal can't sharpen itself without another piece of metal. Left alone, the metal will dull and rust. In the same way, we need influential people in our lives to sharpen us, so that together we can positively impact the world and help each other grow and become better people. God puts people in our lives to help and support and inspire us. Through them, we learn about love, kindness, and strength. These fantastic people show us a bit of God's love, leaving a mark on our hearts. So I want to leave you with 2 things to think about this week. 1, Think about who you surround yourself with. As I always tell my family and friends, your input is your output. For example, if you surround yourself with negative people, you'll become negative and may not even realize it. But if you surround yourself with positive people who push you to become a better person and follow God's example, you'll become a positive person, closer to God, your family, and your friends. 2, think about who you're influencing. It could be a coworker, family member, friend, or someone like me in junior high. How are you sharpening those around you? So I encourage each of you to think about the people who touch our lives. Let's keep their impact and influence close. Tell them how much they mean to you and thank them for being there. And let's remember that we can also be influencers. It could be through our words or actions. Together, everyone here can have an impact on the world, one person at a time, following and spreading God's example and love. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Judy Carvajal, and I'm going to 12th grade. I'm from the Redlands campus. Shout out Pastor Matt. And to everyone on the other side of the camera, I've been going to Eastside for about 3 years now, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak to all of you about what God has put on my heart. I'd like to start by asking you, where's a place that you hate waiting? Like waiting in traffic, waiting for someone to text you back, or even at the endless lines at the DMV. Abel, my brother, just got his permit. Woo woo. I want to take that thought a little bit deeper. What about waiting on God? I know that's a hard one, especially for a very impatient person like myself. Personally, I want things done right away, and I want the answer when I ask. I come from a blended family. My biological father has been in and out of jail since before I was even born. Although I had this absence in my life, I never really fully realized it until there were father-daughter dances at my school, and I felt left out. Then a couple years later, my mom got married, which gave me a new dad, a new sister, and a new little brother, who at first I didn't really like. Which some of you may have experienced too. This big change, new people. This was very difficult because it wasn't my decision. I had no say in anything. However, God brought them in my life for a reason, his plan. He knew me and my older sister, Raina, needed my new siblings, Trinity and Abel, in our lives. He knew that we would have to go through our family hardships together because no matter what was happening around us, we were safe with each other. But I still had some doubts. Things weren't perfect living in that house, having a bad memory for every room, and being in that awkward middle school, high school stage, which was the hardest. I started to question God, which I know many of us have done too. Questions like, why would God let these things happen and continue to happen? Why couldn't we just be like a normal family? I would like to share a couple verses that have helped me with this. Psalms chapter 37, verse 7. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently on him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. And the second one, Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. God always has a plan. And although in that time I had no idea and no hope that God would slowly put my family back together, he did. He was fighting for me even when I didn't realize. Fast forward to September 11th, 2022, my mom, my dad, and I all got baptized together. Since that day, my family has felt new in my relationship with them. Give it up for my dad and me. My relationship with them has gotten stronger, especially with my dad, Kenny. What God has taught me the most in my life is to rely on his time and not mine. I want to challenge you all to think about your own life. Is there something that you're tired of waiting on God for? Think about it for a second. I'll wait. Something I would like all of you to take from me speaking here today is to rely on God's time, not your own schedule. And if you're questioning, why isn't he fixing this or helping me? Why is my family separating? Just know that God has his hand in every situation. Shout out to my mom. She says that to me all the time. Just keep praying and listening to his word because he loves you all so, so much. Thank you for listening.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? My name's Trenton. I'm a senior here at HSM, and high school at Eastside has always been a great part of my life. I've built so many great relationships, and that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. So a couple months ago, one of my leaders, he sent me a secular view about relationships and connection. The video studied one of the biggest questions: what do you think the secret to happiness is? In the video, Harvard University conducted a study in 1937 that recorded over 700 teenagers for the span of 70 years. They tested them, watched them, and tried to find out what the secret was. If you guys are a teenager in the room, what do you think it is? Or if you're a little older than a teenager, take yourself back a couple years and think about what you would say. It could be a lot of things. It could be having your first car. Now you can go anywhere, anytime. It could be having no curfew. Now you can hang out with your friends whenever you want. Or it could be a job. Now you have money to spend when you're out with your friends in your new car with no curfew. You guys, what the study actually concluded is that the secret to happiness is relationships. You know, it's like something that we feel like, the secret to happiness is relationships, but when I have relationships with other people, why do I always feel so lonely? You see, months ago, I felt lost. I felt lonely, and specifically, distant from God. I would look around at the people I was surrounded with, and it was hard because sometimes I wouldn't dive deep in talks with them about God. I really wanted friends that I could. Back then, I wasn't feeling very close with my small group, and it felt like we would never have those talks. I was trying to take my loneliness and fill it with things other than God's love. I know you guys can relate in the room where you've had times in your life similar. You guys, a relationship with Jesus will change all of that. He'll bring you happiness like that, and he'll bring you so much more. As Christians, or those of you who are just starting to get to know about all this, we know a deep relationship with Jesus is what we need. We really do need Jesus. Whatever you're seeking in a relationship, Jesus will fulfill. He'll make us feel perfectly loved and perfectly supported. Jesus even says in John 18:9, he says, "Of those whom you gave me, I have not lost one." You guys, Jesus never lost us. He shows that he's the good shepherd who voluntarily gave up his life for ours. This verse really meant something to me after summer camp this year. You see, before camp, I was always trying to hold on to as much as I could. I was trying to fix my own struggles and relationships with others. Without him, I kept failing over and over. Thinking I could do it on my own was the worst thing I told myself. At summer camp, Jesus pursued me, and he opened my eyes. I felt like the pastor was speaking to me. I had that moment where you guys ever have where the pastor is like, man, he really knows what I'm going through right now, and he's talking to me, so that's what I was going on. I knew he was moving when I looked at what I was trying to do and realized that it never worked. He revealed to me I couldn't do it for myself, and I had to give my life to him so he could do it for me. You guys, devoting my life to Jesus gave me so much strength to overcome my struggles and live like him more and more every single day. I watched the love of God move not only through me, but all the people around me. You guys, I was lost, but Jesus never lost me. My encouragement to you guys is to run towards him as fast as you can. Trust him not only with your mouth, but with your whole heart. The best thing is that when you give your life to God, he'll shape it for you, and he'll guide you. He'll guide you in the right direction, because without his guidance, we can't live life on our own. You'll find ultimate happiness living with God. You guys, be the relationship you want to have. When I was in those times of loneliness, I wanted someone I could talk to and dive deep with. So I thought, what if I help others grow in faith? Ever since then, my small group, we've dove deeper into conversations, both here at church and outside of church, been hanging out with them a lot. I found so much more happiness and support through these guys. I've been with them since 5th grade, and it's been a great journey with them, with all my brothers. I realized I could help other people and share the love and support I was looking for. I encourage you guys to do the same. Be the change that you are looking for. Guys, applying these truths and letting God take control of your life will change it. You become happier, and your relationship with God and others will strengthen. I know many of you guys out here may still have doubts about starting a relationship with Jesus. You could look back at a past relationship that failed and dwell on those thoughts, thinking that you can never have another relationship. You guys, instead, what if we all gave a relationship to Jesus a chance? The only relationship that is perfect, and he'll never let you down. What if we try living our lives one day at a time to the fullest with Jesus? He'll work the unimaginable in our lives, and you'll see the difference he makes. You guys, the temporary happiness we have right now is pennies compared to what Jesus has for us in the future. Jesus is the most valuable relationship you can attain on this earth, and much more great relationships will come with it. Thank you, guys.
What's up, Eastside? Oh, it's good morning, okay. Well, hi, I'm Bree, and I'm an HSM student here at Eastside, and I'm going into my sophomore year of high school. And I just want to point out, I told them not to use that photo of me, but you know what, we're gonna deal with it, Okay, so because we don't have too much time together, I'm just gonna jump right in. Up until recently, I used to never see myself in a good light. I never really saw myself as a good thing. I thought I had no special talents, just overall mediocre at everything, and if not, just bad. I felt like the most ungifted person on the planet. I love doing so many different things, but that doesn't mean I'm very good at them. From this, I would even feel like I had no worth. Now, I grew up in church, and a couple of years ago, I started volunteering with a production team, mainly for JHM, simply because I told our middle school pastor, Joe, that I wanted to do some fun stuff with the music in the student center. So our other middle school pastor, Montana, said I could if I joined the production team. And I thought that was a great idea because both serving God and choosing the music, yeah, sure, why not? So volunteering on the production team is actually pretty fun. But the thing about being on the production team is that you are constantly surrounded by all of these super talented and amazing people. Every morning after we get done with run through, we head over here into Big Church, into the green room with the other really talented people here, and just hang out and eat food and stuff. I used to go too, but I felt really out of place. Everyone in there has all these amazing talents huddled around with their guitars, keyboards, the vocalists with their amazing voices, and I would just be standing alone in a corner eating a bag of chips. I kind of felt like I shouldn't be there. Nobody did anything to necessarily make me feel like this, but just being there and seeing all of them made me feel pretty worthless, like I wasn't good enough to be in there. And not only did I feel like this at church, but in places like school and sports as well. Have you ever had a time in your life where you felt the same? When you've compared yourself to others, and as a result, it made you feel less than or worthless? Have you even had moments where you've contributed or you've helped, but it still hasn't felt like enough? Have you even had times maybe as a teenager, young adult, an empty nester, recently retired person, where you just feel like you haven't been doing enough? If you haven't felt these, I'm sure you know someone who has, and it's a pretty tough feeling to go through. Luckily for me, God showed me that these feelings can be temporary, and he showed me more about my worth. Just because I don't see my talents doesn't mean that I don't have any, and it doesn't mean that I don't have any worth. Well, why? Because I finally listen to what the Bible tells me, that I, just like everyone else, am created in God's image. In Genesis 1:27, it says, "So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. This verse teaches us that no matter how we see ourselves, no matter how worthless we feel, we are created in his image, nothing else but the divine creator himself. We are worth something to him because we are created by him as his children, so unique and special with equal value. No one greater than or less than the other. And it doesn't matter who's better at what, we are still created the same and loved so incredibly much. No one is worthless, we all have value. Even if we don't see it, God does. And not only are we created in the image of God, but we are his love creation made with our own special skill sets. It says this in Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we could do the good things he has planned for us long ago. We are his masterpiece. No matter if we think we do or don't have any special gifts or abilities, we are all equally created and made with purpose and for a reason. God has a plan, and we are made specifically for the challenges and triumphs that he has planned for us. No matter how insignificant any of us may seem to ourselves, we are significant. It took me so long to realize that I am fully and completely loved by him, who would never judge me for not being good at something, who would love me no matter who I am, and to question myself would be to question him. To question yourself would be to question how he made you and the worth you have in him. You can be comfortable in his love, and in his love, you can feel worthy and good about yourself, and you don't need any other recognition. You are loved by someone with absolute and unconditional love, and it is important that you remember this every day. And even after trusting God with my skills and my purpose, I don't have all of this figured out yet. I'm still learning what my gifts are. And I still get nervous going into the green room. I still get anxious going to volleyball practice with people who are obviously better than me. But even though I feel nervous, I don't feel bad about myself, and I just try my best anyways. What if we try new things, even though we are nervous? What would happen if we started to ask in every possible situation, how can we help? How can we be helpful? Is there anything we can do to help? Where would we find ourselves? What would our lives look like? And for those who already know, what if we as a church helped others find their purposes? How can we impact individuals and the church as a whole by helping the people in our community find what they do best? Thank you, Eastside.
Morning, Eastside. Hey, my name is Steven. I'm an intern with the Global Compassion team around here, and I have the opportunity to represent our young adults. Yo, come on, make some noise, young adults, let's go. All right. I want to share a personal experience. I had the opportunity to spend this last spring semester in Santiago, Chile, interning for a college ministry called Global Scope in partnership with Eastside. And I got to live in this beautiful little neighborhood called Barrio Italia, which is where the neighborhood where this ministry was strategically located near 4 universities. And this ministry helps students connect to God for the first time or reconnect to God. And man, I had an amazing time meeting wonderful students. And one night I was washing the dishes with a student that I was just getting to meet. And he started asking me questions about my faith. And he asked me, are there times as you follow Jesus that you don't feel connected to God? And I asked for some clarification or an example to better understand what he was asking, but I began to realize that in that moment, in that season of my life, I felt disconnected to God daily. And there I was, an intern, thousands of miles away from home, serving God, and I've been following Jesus in my whole life, but I don't know how I got this way, but I felt disconnected daily. And it makes me wonder, what about you? Have you ever been there? Have you ever felt disconnected? Have you ever felt yourself leaning away instead of leaning in? You know, and if you're like me and lots of other young adults, we have these doubts and these thoughts more than we realize, and all this connecting and disconnecting makes me think of my spiritual life like an iPhone battery. You see, some of us, our phone drops below 90% and we're already freaking out. And others of us, we get that low battery notification and then end up plugging around 3%. What kind of crowd are you in? Where are you comfortable? See, I think we can relate this to our relationship with God because we feel when our spiritual battery is dying. And last year, I had a season where my battery was not just dead, but dormant. And man, this was a season where, it looked like I was at a full charge every day. I was going to church twice a week, serving on a few different changemaker teams, and my relationship with God felt comfortable. It felt like it was on cruise control. But I realized that I had been relying too much on charging my spiritual battery with things that were not God. See, participating in a small group, engaging in a service project, lifting your hands in worship, those are all good things, but they're not God. See, this is really a tension because Jesus is about connection in life, but sometimes life can get in the way of true connection to him. And that's my problem, and I feel like that's a lot of our problems too. But Jesus speaks directly to this need of connecting to God, and he talks about it in John 15, verse 4. He says, "Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me." Remain, 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 remain. That's the word. I wasn't remaining with him. I didn't know how or when, but I left the table. And I bet lots of us struggle here too. See, we could think we're bearing fruit, but we're just holding fruit. See, I can bear fruit or pretend to hold fruit, but I can't do both. We need to remain in Jesus. And for me, I had to get honest about what in my life was bearing fruit, or what was me trying to hold it. What was I plugging into? And I ask for you parents, are you bearing fruit by intentionally modeling and teaching your children what it means to follow Jesus? Or are you expecting someone else to shoulder that responsibility? Or for you students, you young adults starting your careers or in your studies, are you bearing fruit in your career or in your studies? Or are you trying to achieve it all or just do the bare minimum? And those in relationships, we're all in some sort of relationship. Are you bearing fruit in your relationship? By asking yourself, am I listening well? Is this person getting my full attention? Or am I just interested in what I think or what I feel? Talking about my experiences. See, Jesus is clear. If we remain, we bear. And if we disconnect, we don't. And this helps me as a young adult understand why I do or don't do the things that God has for me. Am I remaining and bearing from the strength of a deep, consistent encounter with Jesus, or am I trying to simply fake it till I make it? So we can fake it, but we can't make it for long. Back to my encounter in Chile, as we were cleaning sauce and dried pasta off these plates, I told him the truth. I said, I felt disconnected from God daily. But continuing in that truth, I told him that God gives me the opportunity to connect with him anytime and anywhere. We always have a one true power source to plug into. And I want to encourage you all this week to do this little thing that I've been doing passively in writing this message. And when you look at your phone battery this week, let it remind you of the state of your spiritual battery. Invite God to help you discern where your battery is at. Is it at 3%, 90%? Could you use a charge connected to the one true power source? And when I'm with my community, my small group, my friends, this church, I might feel disconnected sometimes. But I know Jesus hasn't left me. And he hasn't left you. He hasn't left this next generation. He is active now and will forever remain in us so that we can bear much fruit. Thank you.
Hey, I don't know if anyone else in this room has been looking at the front and thinking, would I have ever done something like that when I was that age? Can we thank these people? And you guys, if you read the news, if you rely on just sources of how things are going with young adults and teenagers these days, you might get a little bit depressed. But can I just tell you, this crew and their friends and people around ministries here are facing exactly the same challenges that others are in this world. But they're trying to do it with their hand in God's hand. And he's showing up and he's walking with them through the ups and the downs. And I'm super proud to be a part of a church like that has ministries like these. And we're gonna celebrate a little bit more in this moment because we've been busy in our Next Gen Ministries this summer, but not just with activities. We've been busy watching students make some pretty cool decisions. And this weekend, we're gonna see just a couple of the 15 young adult and student baptisms that are happening this weekend. So if you turn your attention to the right over here, we're gonna celebrate together.
Yes, we are. And we have had a busy summer. We got a lot of baptisms, and Faith is one of them. And joining me is her small group leader, Katie. And it was at summer camp where she said, this is the time. I knew I'd have that moment where I was like, this is it. I'm going all in with Jesus, and my next step is baptism. So, are you ready? It's our honor and privilege to baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, buried with Christ and raised to new life. Now we have Violet coming in with us here, also one of our junior hires. She was also at summer camp with us, and she said, this is it. I'm all in for Jesus, and I can't wait. So Violet, these people were all for you, and we're so excited for you. So it's our honor and privilege to baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, buried with Christ, raised to new life.
That's awesome. Thanks for celebrating with us. Hey, what I want to do in this moment is remind you that behind every cool student story around here, there's a change maker. There's a volunteer. There's someone who's loving on that person, caring about that person. And behind our change makers is a pretty fantastic next-gen staff. And I just want to point out Joe Schmaltz and Montana on our junior high ministry on the end, helping some of our youngest. Sarah and Nathan here in the middle. Helping out with our high school students, and Janelle and Charles, part of the young adult team, who are helping our young adults kind of take next steps here. So, now can I just say that if you are in the age group of one of these ministries and you want to stop by the lobby afterwards, in just a second, they're going to walk out and you can stop by. You can ask them any question. You might have a question about someone else that you'd like to get connected to that ministry, or you might just want to spin the prize wheel and they'll help you do that as well. But we really invite you to stop by the lobby on your way out, have a chat with one of these great people who are doing great ministry around here. So thank you guys. Let's thank these guys again. Hey, two more real quick things before we leave. I just want to say, number one, I believe so strongly that God can speak through any voice, right? And I just want to ask you in this moment, has He prompted you about anything over this last hour? Because if we leave the room and we just think to ourselves, oh, that was cute, like those were some young people like saying some cool things, I think we might miss. And I just want to ask you, has God prompted you on anything? Is God prompting you in a place where He is inviting you to endure the waiting with Him? Is He prompting you in a place where He wants you to plug in your spiritual battery in some way, or any of the other messages that got shared from this stage? Just in this moment, I want to ask you, is there anything that God wants you to walk out of this room with? I know I was blessed by some things. I know I was taught some things over this weekend. And then second, I just want to offer a gigantic thanks to Eastside as a church for being the kind of place that welcomes in really everybody, old and young, all backgrounds. And we're seeing that happen so much in our students. And I just want to say thank you. And there's some of you that know what I'm going to say next, and that is I want to invite you to be a part of that. And there's others in the room that you're going, I know that's not my shape, Scott. I'm not interested. I wouldn't be good at that. That's not my thing. But for others, kind of take you all the way back to that video where Jess was saying, okay, I told them I'd help with little kids, and they said they need help with high schoolers. And I was like, no way, I'm out. But then she said, God, if you've got something for me there, I'll take a look in. And I just want to invite you to kick the tires. I want to invite you to stop out afterwards and maybe talk to one of them, maybe on the Eastside app in this serving initiative that we're inviting people into. Say you want to check something like that out. It's an opportunity. We would love it. And God may want to do more in and through you than you can even picture in this moment. Next week, Pastor Gene's back. We're starting a brand new series called The Lord's Prayer. Excited to have Gene back. I can't guarantee that it's going to be as good as this week. Don't tell him I said that. It's going to be fantastic next week. But honestly, Eastside, thank you for supporting Next Gen Ministries. Thank you for supporting Next Gen people. Super glad that you were here. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Well, what an awesome weekend to be a part of. Way to go to all of our Next Gen teams for representing so well and leading us in our services this weekend. We are so thankful and we are so proud of you. If you live near a campus and you're ready to start making a difference at Eastside, consider joining one of our Next Gen teams there. It really is a worthwhile investment of your time as you help students navigate life. And if you're part of our online family that can't get to a campus, I invite you to join me in our online teams. We've got an awesome crew of changemakers that host our online services and those who lead Next Steps on Wednesday nights. Just go to eastside.com/changemaker to see all the options. And with that, thank you online family for hanging out today. Come back next week for the start of a brand new message series called The Lord's Prayer and the kickoff to our 21 days of prayer. It's going to be a special few weeks for all of us, and I'll see you then.